What if I told you that the moment an Egyptian prince placed a crown upon his head, he stopped being human, not symbolically, not metaphorically, to every priest, every noble, every soldier, and millions of ordinary Egyptians. He literally became Horus, the falcon god, the divine ruler of heaven, the living protector of Egypt. For over 3,000 years, this wasn't considered mythology. It was political reality. Imagine standing before the Pharaoh. You wouldn't simply see a king. You believed you were standing before a living god whose heartbeat kept the universe itself in balance. Questioning him wasn't merely treason. It was rebellion against creation itself. But why would an entire civilization believe something so extraordinary? How could one ceremony transform an ordinary human into one of Egypt's greatest gods? And why did this idea survive longer than almost any political system in human history? The answer begins with one of the oldest stories ever told, a story of betrayal, murder, revenge, and a battle for the throne that every Egyptian king would relive for thousands of years. Long before the first pyramid rose above the desert, Egypt already believed the perfect king had ruled the world. His name was Horus. Today, most people recognize him as the falcon-headed god, but to the ancient Egyptians, Horus represented something far greater. He was kingship itself. He wasn't simply powerful. He was the rightful ruler of order. According to Egyptian mythology, the world had once been governed directly by the gods. Ra ruled first. Then came Osiris, whose reign brought civilization, agriculture, law, and prosperity. But paradise didn't last. Osiris was murdered by his own brother, Set, the god of chaos, storms, violence, and disorder. With Osiris dead, Egypt itself became vulnerable. Chaos threatened to consume everything. Then came Horus, the son of Osiris and Isis, raised in secret, protected from assassination, trained for one purpose alone, to reclaim his father's throne. The battles between Horus and Set became some of the greatest myths in Egyptian religion. They fought across deserts, rivers, and even the heavens themselves. Horus lost an eye. Set suffered terrible wounds. Neither side gave up. Eventually, the gods declared Horus the rightful king, not because he was the strongest, but because he represented justice. From that moment onward, every legitimate king of Egypt wasn't simply inspired by Horus. He became Horus. Every coronation became the continuation of that ancient victory. Every pharaoh inherited the throne that Horus had won against chaos itself. Imagine attending a ceremony where everyone believed they were watching a human transform into a god. Forever. That was an Egyptian coronation. The future king entered the ceremony as a prince. He emerged as Horus. The rituals were incredibly complex. Priests purified him. Sacred oils covered his body. Ancient words echoed through temple halls. Crowns representing Upper and Lower Egypt were placed upon his head. Each action carried divine meaning. The king received several royal names, among them the famous Horus name. This wasn't decoration. It officially identified the ruler with Horus himself. Temple inscriptions didn't describe the king as like Horus. They simply called him Horus. From that day forward, his body belonged to the god. His authority came directly from heaven. His decisions reflected divine will. When he appeared before crowds, people believed they were witnessing the falcon god walking the earth. Modern readers often assume everyone secretly knew it was political theater, but ancient Egyptian evidence suggests something much deeper. Religion, government, law, and daily life weren't separate systems. They were one reality. If Horus ruled through the king, then Egypt itself remained connected to the gods. Without that connection, everything could collapse. What if the survival of the entire universe depended on one man sitting on a throne? To the Egyptians, it did. The ancient Egyptians believed existence balanced on a sacred principle called Ma'at. Ma'at meant truth, justice, balance, harmony, the regular flooding of the Nile, successful harvests, healthy families, peace. Even the movement of the stars depended upon it. Every day, forces of chaos tried to destroy that balance. Those forces were represented by Set and by the monstrous serpent Apophis, who attacked the sun every night. The Pharaoh wasn't merely governing taxes or armies, he defended creation itself. Temple reliefs constantly show kings defeating enemies, offering sacrifices, or standing beside the gods. These weren't propaganda images. They represented cosmic work. Every temple built, every offering performed, every festival celebrated, helped maintain Ma'at. If the king failed, chaos could spread across Egypt. A poor harvest, foreign invasion, disease, or civil war weren't simply unfortunate events. Many Egyptians interpreted them as signs that divine balance had weakened. The king carried an unimaginable responsibility, not just to his people, but to the universe. If you're fascinated by the forgotten secrets of ancient Egypt, take a second to like this video and subscribe. Every week, we uncover incredible myths, hidden history, and powerful gods that most people have never heard of. Now, let's continue the story. Here's the part almost everyone gets wrong. Pharaohs weren't Horus forever. The moment a king died, everything changed. In life, he was Horus. In death, he became Osiris. The transformation completed a cycle that had repeated for thousands of years. Remember the original myth. Osiris ruled. He died. Horus inherited the throne. Every generation repeated that divine story. The deceased king entered the afterlife as Osiris, his son, or chosen successor, became the new Horus. Father became Osiris. Son became Horus, again and again and again. This wasn't merely symbolic succession. It created an unbroken chain stretching back to the gods themselves. No matter how many centuries passed, Egypt always believed the same divine family ruled the kingdom. The living king represented youthful strength, leadership, and protection. The dead king became the eternal father guiding Egypt from the afterlife. This cycle solved one of humanity's oldest political problems: succession. Instead of a dangerous transfer of power, Egyptians saw a sacred continuation of divine history. The throne never truly changed hands. Horus simply returned. How did one civilization survive for over 3,000 years while countless empires disappeared? Military strength helped. The Nile helped. Geography helped. But belief may have mattered most. If every king was literally Horus, rebelling against the throne became something far greater than politics. It became rebellion against divine order. This belief united priests, farmers, soldiers, craftsmen, and nobles under one cosmic purpose. Everyone had a place. Everyone served Ma'at. Even neighboring kingdoms often described Egypt as a land ruled by divine kings unlike anywhere else. Foreign ambassadors entered royal courts expecting to meet someone closer to a god than an ordinary monarch. The king also served as chief priest. Although temple rituals were performed daily by priests, they acted on behalf of the pharaoh. Every offering ultimately belonged to him. Every temple connected heaven and earth through his authority. Even massive monuments reflected this belief. Pyramids, temples, colossal statues, obelisks. They weren't simply displays of wealth. They proclaimed one message to every visitor. The gods still ruled Egypt, and Horus still sat upon the throne. If every pharaoh was truly Horus, why did the belief eventually fade away? The answer wasn't sudden. It happened over centuries. Egypt changed. Foreign rulers conquered the land. Libyans, Nubians, Assyrians, Persians. Then came the Greeks. Finally, the Romans. Many foreign kings still embraced Egyptian traditions. Even Alexander the Great sought recognition from Egyptian priests. The Ptolemaic rulers presented themselves as legitimate pharaohs. They appeared in temples, wearing traditional crowns, offering gifts to the gods, standing beside Horus, because they understood something remarkable. To rule Egypt, you needed more than an army. You needed divine legitimacy. Eventually, new religions spread across the empire. Ancient temples closed, priests disappeared, hieroglyphs were forgotten, the old rituals ended. Yet the idea of divine kingship left a permanent mark on history. Many later civilizations borrowed aspects of Egypt's model. Kings claimed divine approval. Emperors declared themselves chosen by heaven. Even today, leaders often seek authority through symbols greater than themselves. The Egyptian pharaohs had mastered that idea thousands of years earlier. What if the greatest invention of ancient Egypt wasn't the pyramid, but the king himself? Think about what the Egyptians achieved. They convinced generations of people that every living ruler was Horus. Every dead ruler became Osiris. Every coronation renewed the victory over chaos. Every succession preserved the universe. It wasn't simply religion. It wasn't merely politics. It fused both into one system so powerful that it outlived kingdoms, dynasties, and even entire civilizations around it. Whether or not modern people believe the gods truly walked among humanity, one fact remains undeniable. Few political ideas have lasted as long or shaped a civilization as completely as Egypt's belief in the divine pharaoh. For over 3,000 years, millions looked upon the throne and didn't see a man wearing a crown. They saw Horus himself, watching over Egypt, holding back chaos and keeping the universe alive.